The number one question I always get asked is, how do you train for these expeditions? It's been 14,000 kilometers that I've ran in deserts. I've crossed the Atacama Desert, the Gobi, multiple unsupported Arctic expeditions. And over the years, that question keeps coming up. What I do is I really plan my training out. I train specifically. And what that means, and what I've learned that truly means over the years of doing these expeditions, is when you set a goal, you have that one big thing that you're doing that year. You can do smaller projects throughout the year, and I do. But we have that one big project that you're training for, two big projects that you're training for, whether they be that marathon or your first 10K or an ultra marathon or crossing Death Valley off-road. I plan and train and prepare my year specifically for that event that I'm going to be doing. And I follow what's called a periodized model of training. And it sounds complicated, and it sounds like it's a bunch of stuff that nobody's ever going to actually use. But everything I do is actually applicable to everyone else out there that's doing or training for anything that they're preparing for. I know this because over the years I've coached hundreds of runners and people competing in different kinds of events or participating in different adventures of their own. And what I found really truly works is taking the time to plan that year out, getting you to the goal as effectively as possible. So any expedition that you're going to go on, like Death Valley or Kamchatka, you've got to have a strength component. You've got to be thinking about hitting the gym, core strength, stability, flexibility, strengthening your body for the load that you're going to be putting on it throughout the year in training. Training doesn't simply have to be put on your running shoes, go and run the same trails or the same road every single day, same distance every single day, do the same thing, same intensity every single day until you get there. Yeah, it'll probably help you get more or less ready, but it's far more effective to do a model of training like my daughters have created here, an example for me. This is our family, and we're climbing a mountain. And there's several mountains that we're going to try and climb, but every mountain has a different level of difficulty and technical. And the way I look at these mountains is your year of training and how you periodize your year of training. So summit number one could be the first part of your year where you're like, you know what, I'm going to spend some time, I got some issues and injuries, I'm going to work out in the gym, I'm going to rectify these problems, increase and improve my flexibility, I'm going to do a little bit of running, and I'm going to slowly work into good running technique, finding the shoes that work for me, all these baseline things that you need to do. Like as if you were building a house, you build a solid foundation. This is the foundational stuff. Then you move into these different periods throughout the year of training that you need to do that will get you closer to your goal. And it doesn't have to be complicated, but you could have this next mountain, this next period, this next phase, this next challenge in your year can be all about building endurance or stamina. Then this last phase here can be more about applying everything you've done in these early phases to the most specific component of your training. So you're training for a trail ultra, you're going to do a lot of trail running, right? You're training for a road marathon, you're going to do a lot of road running. You're going to do this, it's a hilly road marathon, you're going to run a lot of hilly roads. You know, it's really sort of capitalizing on what you have access to or making the time to get into that terrain that you need to, that's as specific and the same as to what, or as close as you're going to get to what it is that you're going to actually be doing, to what that dream goal is. So as it ties back to Death Valley, I've spent a lot of time this year training by elevation. I know I've got these 2 mountain passes that I've got to cross. I know it's going to be insanely hot. It's going to be 50 plus degrees Celsius. The challenges go beyond these rocky scrambles up these mountain passes. There's also long periods between resupplies, these buried caches that we'll have, or tucked away caches that we'll have, these water resupplies. We've got to be able to, and have the stamina and endurance to get from one to the next. There's the terrain itself. Going across the basin, going across Death Valley proper on our way to the second mountain range. I've been through that, obviously crossing north to south, and I can tell you, it is brutal. It's salt, it's undulating terrain that just is dying to twist your ankles and give you the worst blisters you've ever had. So I'm preparing by running right now based on elevation. I don't go out with a number in my mind of how many kilometers I need to cover today. I go out with my mind of how many meters or feet I need to climb today. That's what I'm worried about. And how am I going to do it? In the most technical terrain, on the most technical trails that I have in my backyard, Why? To help me prepare for those technical ascents and descents, to help me prepare for those long stretches between those water checkpoints, to help me prepare for those difficult terrain sections through the valleys. I'm training specifically now. I'm in that phase of my training where I'm training specifically. Everything else I've done in the year is here now, where I need to be. It's all being put into this training specifically component. So my advice to you is, when you pick whatever goal it is that you have, you can work with a trainer, you can work with a coach. I've worked with some amazing people over the years. Learn from as many people as you can. Read stuff about your training. Learn from other coaches, from other runners, from other people that are doing the kind of things that you want to do. You never stop learning. If you think you've ever got it figured out, that's when things start to go wrong, because we don't have it all figured out. I still am learning so much every expedition that I do. Take the advice of other coaches and implement it into your own training, or seek a coach out that can help you with a program and have them structure a program that will help get you to your goal. But bottom line, 4 main points that you need to cover off on in your own training. 1, define the goal. Sounds so random to say that, but if you have a specific goal that you're training for, you'll live to that goal. As cheesy as that sounds, it will happen. You'll make it happen. Number 2, structure your training so that your training fits your life. Don't jam your life into a program that you can't follow. I have young kids, I have family, I love to do stuff with my family. I don't want to just be training all the time. So I make my training fit my life, not the other way around. Periodize your training program. Look at different phases in the year. We have 4 seasons where I live. We're skiing in the winter and trail running on hard packed snow on trails that are as smooth as can be in the winter. But in the summer, we're running a gnarly terrain and mountain biking and doing completely different things. I periodize and structure my training, those different phases, based on the seasons. And number 4, don't overdo it. Do what you need to do to accomplish your goal, but don't feel overwhelmed by your training that it's something that you'll never get to. Any goal that you set, that if you really think about, you set that goal because you really want to do it, you can definitely achieve the goal if you take the steps to make it happen, and you're willing to lay things out and structure it in a way that you can have reasonable increases in volume, you make sure that you're strong and solid on the way in, and then eventually, without doubt, you'll achieve that goal.